Why, hello, fellow Patriots, and welcome to episode 7 on the Patriot Dad channel, where we can discuss current events and modern issues, all while keeping it as real as possible, at least while we still can. Today, though, I wanted to do a follow-up video on last week's. Last week, we discussed the destruction of the community. This week, I wanted to have a more free-flowing, open format with less of a script. Just kind of see where it takes us. As you watch the video, if you feel that this is a better format, if you enjoy it more or less, feel free to leave a comment down below as we proceed. But this video will be about rebuilding community and the things that we can do to try and reunite us instead of continuing to divide us. Now, today's video is brought to us by ourselves. So this is my newly launched Patriot Dad headquarters. This has some merch I will be adding to this as we go. My first product line is the Don't Mess With My Family product line. So I will be placing an order to test the quality of this, and I will keep you guys updated on that, but I will also continue to update with new designs as we go. So feel free to check out the website. That's patriotdadhq.com. and browse that, purchase something if you wish. But let's proceed. So one of the big things from last week's video that we discussed that is dividing us is the fact that we are entering into and creating our own echo chambers, something that we should fight against actively. We should look for more than one source for our information. If we see that there is an event going on in the world that interests us, we should not just run to our favorite media outlet or one website or one neighbor or one anything for information on it. We should seek out diverse sources from multiple sides of the subject matter. And as we do that, we can form our own better informed opinion. Now, you might argue, oh, well, these events, they're just facts. But when you can look at two different news sites from the two different sides of the political aisle, and their headlines read almost exactly the opposite for the same event, is there really truth in media anymore? And I think that we discussed previously in our video on the media and how it is the modern day Coliseum. And it is used to entertain us, and it is also used, as discussed in last week's video, to divide us. Can it be trusted as the number one source, as informative and trustworthy? I don't think that any one media can be anymore. The closest thing we have is independent media. The corporate media, in my opinion, is just not as reliable. There's too much money to be made in telling you one thing or another. So don't just trust one source. Find multiple sources and form your own opinion. And then we can have healthy discussions with each other. That's another thing we can do. Instead of isolating ourselves and avoiding each other and becoming hyperpolarized, how about instead we humanize each other? We realize that we are, in fact, human beings. That we are not dehumanizing people as the media and everyone would like us to. Start to get to know your neighbors, your coworkers, the people you run into at the grocery store, the gas station, and the many other places that you interact with the general public. Get to know them. Be kind to them. Talk to them. And if you have a coworker, friend, or family, if they differ in their opinions or their viewpoints in things, discuss it with them. Investigate why they feel the way they feel, but do it in a kind manner. Because that's how we're going to have open and honest and free debate. Now, if you're having a discussion with somebody in your life and they just cut you off and they don't want to listen, they don't want to listen to any other side, any other viewpoint, and they are just stuck in their ways, you know what? That's fine. Those people are going to exist. But in my opinion, it's probably not worth much of your time to discuss the matters with those people. In fact, find people that will openly have discussions with you. Find people that are kind to you, not mean. That kind of leads into the importance of the golden rule. The golden rule, as it was explained to me growing up, is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or just, do to others as you would have them do to you. The unto is just a little fancy, but that's how it was originally put to me. Now, it kind of goes back to, if you would like to be treated nicely, you should probably start by treating others nicely. If you put evil into the world, don't be surprised when evil comes out of the world and finds you in return, right? It also goes back to an old saying that 2 wrongs don't make a right. If somebody has wronged you, wronging them in return might feel good for a moment, but does it actually improve anything? When someone cuts you off in traffic, does cursing, using profanities at them, giving them 1-finger salutes, or whatever other thing you may do in traffic, does that actually improve the situation? Or does it actually escalate things? Does it put you and other people around you at risk unnecessarily? Instead of being in such a hurry, why don't we just leave on time, plan ahead, and be more understanding, more patient with each other, and more calm? Because that person that cuts you off in traffic probably didn't do it to slight you personally. They probably don't even know who you are. But they have their reasons. Maybe they didn't plan ahead. But just because they didn't plan ahead doesn't mean you should escalate the situation and make it worse, right? 2 wrongs don't make a right. And treat others as you would want to be treated. Seems pretty simple. So why don't we do it? Maybe if we did it more, we could help rebuild that sense of community that we're losing. The other thing that we need to avoid is tribalism. People in general, animals of all types, people and creatures, all included, tend to want to belong to the in-group. They want to belong to the tribe, to the herd, to the pack, whatever word you want to choose. In high school, it was the popular kids, the in crowd, right? The cheerleaders, the football players, all the cool kids. Everybody wanted to be one. Well, not everybody, but most people wanted to be one. And if you weren't one, you were typically ridiculed, ostracized, looked down upon. I might have been one of those kids, but you know what? That's fine. I turned out okay. Bullying was still a thing when I was growing up, and you know what? It made me a stronger person. I'm not encouraging it, but I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't exist or that it's a brand new phenomenon, right? We're trying to keep this as real as possible. Remember that bullying has been around since the beginning of time. It's just our resiliency to it, our tolerance levels are just much lower now. And we've put a lot of fancy terms and words on different effects and feelings that are generated as a result. And we've coddled. We've given participation trophies, ribbons of all sorts, shapes, and sizes. We've told kids that they're all winners. I think those things are all destructive to community, to individuals, because by rewarding poor performance, you aren't encouraging excellent performance. The more people that we have that aren't excellent performers, the worse off our society is. And the worse off our society is, the worse our communities will be. So, in the end, we should only reward people for doing well. We should encourage people to earn the outcomes they want, not just be given them. Something else we can do to help with our sense of community and our engagement with each other is to disconnect from our digital devices, to disconnect from social media, the internet. Even though you're watching this video on it, and I appreciate it, but we spend far too much time on it. Think about your morning constitutional. How much time do you spend scrolling through Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, your favorite news site, Reddit, Slashdot, whatever your poison? We spend far too much time in it. How many people have witnessed somebody walking down the street almost get hit by a car because they are doing this? They're just staring at their device. they're scrolling, but they're not watching what they're doing. They're not engaging with the world around them. They're not talking to the people. They're not looking to see if they're going to get hit by a car. So the less we engage with the digital world and the more we engage with the real world, the better off, in my opinion, we'll be. When it comes to families and homes and communities, because communities really are just a collection of people and families and individuals, but when it comes to families and raising children, should we not try and have two-parent households if at all possible? Now, sure, there are going to be exceptions. There are going to be violent homes, and I would not encourage people to stay together if violence is what's happening. That isn't good for anybody, right? Violence isn't good for society as a whole. If people are injuring or murdering each other, that's bad for society. That's bad for community. So if that is the alternative, then separation is probably the better choice. But for the outcome of the family and the children, if violence is not involved, both parents being in the house seems like the right answer to me. It took both parents to make the kid. It probably takes both parents to raise them, at least to give them the best chance that we can. And now, everything is so damn expensive that most households have both parents working. And in my opinion, that is not ideal. It is not helping our communities. It is not helping our families. It is just creating workers out of everybody. It makes the government earn a lot more in taxes, that's for sure. But are our homes better off? Or would our homes be better off if one of the parents stayed home? I don't really care which. Traditionally, that would be the woman. But it doesn't have to be. One person can go to work, one person stays home. If you can't afford that, maybe reconsider where you live. You don't have to be in the really expensive area of town. You don't have to be in the big city. Consider moving to somewhere more remote, if possible. Somewhere with a lower cost of living. I lived in Nebraska for 5 years and I really enjoyed it. A 3-story townhouse with a detached 2-car garage cost about $850 a month. It's a lot more reasonable than living in, let's say, New York City. We were talking about many, many thousands of dollars a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. So the more we can have one person working and one person tending the home, one person keeping the peace while the other person goes out and kills a paycheck, I think we'll be better off. But let me know what you think. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video if you've made it this far. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below on what you think about the different format and what you think about the topic. If you want to see more videos like it, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you can be notified when I post new videos. Please share the video. Feel free to leave a comment about maybe a topic you want to see in the future. After today, for next week, I'm going to be discussing ESG, how it's shaping investing, business, and the world around us. Again, take a minute if you have an opportunity and stop by patriotdadhq.com. The link will be down in the description as well, and check out what we have to offer. And keep an eye. I will continue to update you as we add more merch and more lines of merchandise. Take care, God bless, and bye for now.